Hi, Dawn Lewis here, and today I have a sweet stamp shop based project for you with a little mama elephant bow. And we're not doing just one project, I wanted to use up all my scraps. So I've actually made a card, 2 mini cards, and a bookmark. Let's look at our supplies to start with. I'm using Sweet Stamp Shop's Celebrate Cake stamp sets and Encourage, some fun foam and Kaiser Craft 6x6 papers. I've got blending card and white cardstock, some double-sided tape, small scissors, Memento Tuxedo black ink for Copic colouring, a stitched circle die, Misty archival ink, rusty hinge and bundled sage distress inks with my mini blending tool, and a craft mat. We'll use a little black cardstock as well, but let's start with the full-size card first. I've done my usual trick of applying double-sided tape to the front of my card base and sticking it down onto the back of the orange floral Kaiser Craft paper. Now this comes from a paper pad I've got. It's called Spring Bloom. Papers are actually 6.5, but near enough. A 6-inch would work too. I'm using rusty hinge to go all around the outside with my mini blending tool with a foam pad on it. It's giving it kind of a vignette look. And then I used a piece of green paper that my daughter's already punched into to cut out a 3¼ inch stitch circle die. Now I wanted to take advantage of the flowers in the corner, so my unicorn will be sitting on a bed of flowers. Clever, hey? Then I decided I was going to pop that up. So I've cut an identical stitch circle using the orange fun foam. I went with orange because the base paper is orange, and I thought it might hide pretty well. But it wasn't too long before I put the paper on top and realised I really could see the orange around the outside. I didn't like it. So I used the stitching line and just trimmed all the way around it to take a small amount off, and that is much better. When you're using fun foam to pop something up, it's great for the mail. Things aren't going to get squashed in between bits of foam tape. I went all the way around the green die cut circle with some bundled sage distress ink, just to give that a bit of a border as well. If I'm going to ink around one edge, I'm inking around everything. I'm using my Misty today because I'm stamping with Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I like to double stamp that. And I stamp with Memento when I'm using Copics. But for greetings, I'm using archival jet black ink, which only ever needs one stamp. It's gorgeous because I'm not going to colour my greetings. I stamped onto Express It blending card for Copic colouring, and because I plan on fussy cutting this unicorn, I cut the border, I cut my greeting out first and then went around it just with a little tiny bit of the rusty hinge distress ink to bring it all together. Go around one edge, go around all the edges. A little double-sided tape, I'm putting it on some black cardstock, and I'm going to trim that down into a mat. I'm also going to take this opportunity to apologise for my awful voice. I'm a bit sick today, but I'll live, and maybe I can sneak out and do some more card making. I love this. This is from the Encourage set, and I kept my colouring really simple. I rarely colour pastel, but I had a hankering to do it today. So I'm going to just use 3 colours, and really pale colours. I mean, E000, YR00, and YR01. Those are really pale colours. I did on one of the unicorns throw in a little GO2 just because I wanted to intensify it a bit. But for the most part, I've stuck with these basic colours, and all the unicorns are coloured the same. Fussy cutting, gosh, I wish it was this fast. That would be great. And then a black marker to go around the edge so that it's not kind of stark white. It's going to blend a little better. At this point, I got out my orange embellishment box and found this cool, fine orange ribbon tied a bow. And now I'm pretty happy. It's going to be a simple card, but very pretty. I'm going to put everything together, and I'm using Tombow mono adhesive for the bow and the unicorn. I'm going to hold them down with a couple of acrylic blocks while I do all of the rest, just so they stay while the glue dries. I'm using some Fundamentals hearts, and I've put glaze pen on my unicorn's eyes and some Wink of Stella because every unicorn needs sparkle. I put it on the hearts as well, and I did a double coat. So there we have the full-size card. Let's move on to the mini cards. See, I like using up all the papers. So I took one card base, cut it in half, and I'm just making the most of those floral sections that are on that leftover piece of green pattern paper. So one of them is fantastic. This one's going to cover the entire piece. This one, not so much. But that's not a problem because I'm using leftovers. So I have a leftover strip of the orange. Bing, bang, on it goes. Look at that. No leftovers on my desk. Honestly, there was nothing usable. And I could use these portrait or landscape. I also took the very, very scraps of the green and cut out a couple of Mama Elephant Dainty Bows. Oh, that's hard. Say that 3 times fast. I've just used my thumbnail to curve the bow part so it's not a straight fold, and then apply a little glue to that little stick and you just wrap it around. I'm putting a bit more glue on and sticking it to a backing. There are 2 backings. One goes out straight and one falls down like bow handles. Another piece of the leftover, you see I'm using everything, and a little tiny strip of black, just so that every card kind of has the same look to it. This is a gorgeous set. I put a bow on each of these little orange strips with the black accent, just with some Tombow Mono adhesive. And now it's time to make some more unicorns. I'm doing a little masking. This unicorn I thought needed a bow on its horn because, you know, so I've put a post-it note bow mask on there, stamp my unicorn, peel off the mask, and boom, I've got a unicorn with a bow. And you don't have to colour. This is a weird looking coloured cardstock. I appreciate that, but it's actually the same colour as the centres of the flowers on the green pattern paper, and it worked really, really well. I also did die cut a tiny Polaroid frame and used that for part of it as well, so that it brought that yellow colour in. Fuss and fiddle around. Now I'm stamping my greetings directly on the card. If I didn't have a MISTI, there's no way I'd attempt it. I'm using archival jet black ink, and now it's time to put these mini cards all together. I'm going to hold the unicorn in the back there with some extra tape and pop that on there. We're going to add our just pretty unicorn, and there we go. We have mini cards. Moving on. I hope my voice holds out for this bookmark. This is the last piece of the orange pattern paper that I had left over. I had run out of green by this point, so I grabbed a piece of green basil. I think this one's called Lily Pad because I've got it written on the back for some weird reason. Same inks, Rusty Hinge and Bundled Sage, and I'm using everything. I mean everything. I'm using my unicorn mask to help me place the unicorn on top of the cake from the Celebrate Cake set, and I also thought it would be really cool to turn the unicorn's horn into a candle. So I've just masked off a little bit from the number 1 candle in the Celebrate Cake set. On goes the mask. We're going to stamp down the cake now. And I did a terrible job on the candle, just terrible. So I'm just going over it with a multi-liner. And I've stamped out my greeting using the archival jet black ink because we're not going to colour it. Now I wasn't going to show this again because I've coloured the unicorn the same way, but I did want to show you how I coloured the cake. See, there's a lot of curved lines in this cake, and so I'm following the curve and using that as a guide to where my highlights are going to be. I got through with the green here and realised, hang on a second, I'm using a completely different kind of green cardstock. The mint doesn't match, so I switched over to G20 and G21, and this is much, much better. It matches the cardstock beautifully. I'm going to trim down the greeting, put a little bundled sage around the edge and mat it on black, just like I did with the others. I like to stick it down then trim around it by eye so I've got a nice even border. That's just how I roll. We're going to stick our paper onto the cardstock. I like bookmarks, they're functional and they can be flat. It's a little inked up piece. I wish fussy cutting was this fast. This took a little longer. I've used liquid glue up the top and double-sided tape down the bottom to add my unicorn candle cake. And I thought breathe was fun because, you know, blowing out candles, breathing, plus reading, relaxing, breathing. The last step is to use the very last of this cardstock and ink it up for a tab at the top, just in case, you know, your bookmark slips down inside your book. I'm going to pop that on and we have one complete bookmark. But a unicorn is not complete until it has some sparkle. I also put some on a ribbon that's going around the top layer of the cake. And I am so in love with this ensemble. It just came out so nice. This is the Celebrate Cake stamp set. This is Encourage, both by Sweet Stamp Shop. And this is the Dainty Bow Die, so you can see the 2 different tails you get. I do hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. You can find Sweet Stamp Shop in Australia at dawnlewis.com.au. I'm also happy to order things in, and I stock Lawn Fawn and Mama Elephant as well. Thank you so much for subscribing, and if you don't subscribe, why not? Or maybe a thumbs up will do it for you. I hope you have an awesome crafty day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.